Is there a pathway for Liverpool to secure the services of Alexander Isak this summer? And in short, I think there is. I actually think there's a pathway that Liverpool are able to get Alexander Isak. I know I said like a week ago, I don't think it's possible. It's not going to happen. But I said the same thing with Florian Wirtz. And I think, we know what happened with Florian Wirtz. I think there's a pathway. I think there's 5 ways, 5 steps that Liverpool could take to actually sign Isak this summer. It sounds crazy, but walk with me here. So the first thing is, if Liverpool are able to sell more players, they could fund this move. So we've probably all seen the rumors of Harvey Elliott leaving this summer, Darwin Nunez, maybe Luis Diaz. We've already sold Kwanzaa. Maybe there's some other names on that list, Robertson, Tsimikas, so on and so forth. But if Liverpool are able to sell even, Elliott and Darwin, that could be upwards of around 100 million pounds. Elliott's value seems to be rising after what he did for the England U21s. Darwin Nunez, 40 to 50 million pounds, maybe depending on where he goes. I think Liverpool are going to hold out for that amount. So you look at Elliott, Darwin, and then, Luis Diaz, if he goes, that's the big cherry on top. But I think Liverpool could sell more players to fund this move and make it possible. And we're going to look at, why they would need to do that later on, because I don't think there's any way around. This is going to be expensive for Liverpool. So one thing that Liverpool could do is they could structure this deal over time. I think they've done this a little bit with Florian Wirtz, where they say, we're going to give you X amount up front, and then over the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to give you 30 million pounds a year every summer as part of we're going to pay that out in installments. So Liverpool could go to Newcastle and say, hey, we know you've got very tight constraints from PSR. We're going to give you 100 million pounds up front. We're going to give you that right now, lump sum. That's going to free you up to do a ton of stuff with all of your players. You're going to be able to sign new contracts with your existing players, and you're going to go out, you're going to be able to spend on new players and really bolster that lineup. Right now, they can't do that. They're really, really tight. Even though their owners are super rich, the PSR, because they're not Man City, they actually have to follow the rules. So Liverpool could say, we're going to give you 100 million up front, and then we'll give you 25 million over the next 2 years. So it's going to be a 150 million pound deal. It's going to be massive, but we're going to give you a ton of money up front. And that way Liverpool, they're going to have that money to spend, but they don't want to maybe drop 150 million all at once. Maybe they just want a little bit more breathing room. So that's what Liverpool could do. I think Richard Hughes has already done that with Florian Wirtz, and that's a very smart way of doing business now. Here's another thing that Liverpool could do that Newcastle cannot do. Newcastle are really restricted right now with PSR. They cannot offer Alexander Isak more than 200K per week. I think he's currently on 75K a week, but if Liverpool were able to come in, and I don't think Isak is the type of player who would move only for money, but if Liverpool are able to say, hey, you're 25 years old, you're in your prime, you are worth 300K per week, we're going to give that to you over the next 5 years, I think that would just sweeten the deal a little bit, and Newcastle couldn't say, they can't match that. So that's a big deal when it comes to bringing in Isak to Liverpool, because that's another element of just selling that dream to Isak. This happened with Florian Wirtz. We know this. Arneslot was able to get in the ear of Florian Wirtz and sell the dream to where Wirtz didn't want to go anywhere else, not even to Bayern Munich. So if we are able to sell that dream to Isak and say, you are going to be the focal point of this ridiculously potent attack, I think Isak, how could you say no to that? He's got to look at, even over the next year, do I want to spend another grueling year with Newcastle, where we're going to be in the Champions League, we're going to be, maybe hopefully fighting for top 4, maybe there's an outside chance we are part of the title race this season. Does Isak want to do that with Newcastle, or does he want to come to Liverpool, where he is not the only guy who's able to score? He is going to be part of one of the most prolific attacks of all time. That's gotta be so intriguing and so attractive to a guy like Alexander Isak, who I think has high aspirations for his footballing career. And he is 25. So, if he were to see out his contract at Newcastle, I think that puts him at 28 or 29. And I think that's probably in the back of his mind right now. Do I want to make this jump? Now is the time. He might not have another opportunity like this to come to a team like Liverpool. Okay, there's no way around this. Final point, Liverpool are going to have to make a record-breaking offer for Alexander Isak. I've seen rumors of the player swap. Oh, we're going to give them Elliott and Jota, and then, it's basically Elliott and Jota for Isak straight up. Or it's Elliott and Jota, and then, Isak will be 30 million pounds. That just doesn't happen. That never happens in world football. It doesn't happen in European football. There's no player swaps. There's no player trades. It's just silly. It's just silly. Now, we just saw what happened with Bayern Leverkusen and Florian Wirtz, where we bought Wirtz and then we sold them Jarell Kwanzaa. But that's not a straight swap, okay? Those were two separate deals. They were separated by like a couple weeks, I think. So, yes, we could sell a player like Harvey Elliott to Newcastle, but we're not going to just give them Harvey and then pay 80 million pounds for Isak. That doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's silliness. So there's no way around a record-breaking offer is going to have to happen for Liverpool to secure Alexander Isak. But I think it's possible, guys. Just looking at the pathway, and apparently today, the rumors are that Isak has told Newcastle he wants to come to Liverpool if it's possible. If it's possible to get a deal done, he wants to come. And so with that in mind, I'm going to say this is possible. Do I think that it's going to happen? I'll put it at 50-50 at this point, because what Liverpool have been able to do this summer is ridiculous. And these rumors are not going away. The rumors are not going away. Even, the big name Liverpool reporters who usually shoot down this stuff, they haven't shot it down. And so, when the rumors stay persistent, especially this summer, I think there's a chance. I think Liverpool are continuing to work on this, and that is interesting. Also, there's been a lot of people on the other side, rival fans, getting very worried and pleading with Newcastle to make sure this doesn't happen. I think it's interesting, guys. I'd love to know what you think. Get your comments in below. As always, up the Reds.